I really like the approach that this book is taking so far. Like, stop. Rewind. I mean, like, slow the down. Like, the best way to predict the future is to create it. It's time to get loud. Welcome back to LoudTalk with Lavi, a podcast where we break down the walls of beauty standards one flaw at a time. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. This is episode 3 of LoudTalk, and I just want to start off by saying thank you for all the love on the podcast so far. Obviously, when you guys are watching this episode, I am doing episode 3 now, but today, the day I'm filming and recording episode 3, is actually the day I released LoudTalk on all platforms: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple, everything. Episode 1 went live today, the day I'm recording this, so I have so much excitement, and I wasn't planning on filming a podcast episode today, but I just had all this podcast excitement in me. I literally listened to episode 1 of the pod like probably 50 times. I could probably recite the full hour of the podcast just freehand at this point. But overall, I was just so excited about it, and I couldn't wait to just jump back into it and record another episode. And I thought this would be a good time to film this episode because I want to take a look back at 2022 and do some reflecting on everything that happened in my life and, you know, just the growth I went through as well as the goals I accomplished, and kind of reflect on that and be able to take that forward into 2023. I think reflecting on your goals is super important, and, you know, always just kind of being in this growth mindset is also super important. So that's what I thought we could do today. It's going to be very chill vibes. Think of this episode as if like you were journaling with me. That's kind of what we're going to be doing today. And of course, before we jump into anything, we got to start off each podcast with something I loved about my skin today and something I didn't love so much about my skin. Let's do like the past week or so. I do have some matcha. I made this earlier and kind of forgot about it, and then I reheated it. And if you're watching on YouTube and wondering why my mug is half full, it's because I put it back in the microwave, turned my back for, you know, a few seconds, and the whole glass overflowed. So great start to the pod. It still tastes pretty good. I get my matcha from PickU. I hope I'm pronouncing that brand right. They basically make these little matcha like powder packets, and they're so easy to use because you just put them in, you know, water or milk or however you want to make it. I usually do it with oat milk and warm it up, and it's so good. So let's start off with something I loved about my skin today, and or just this week in general. And let me think. I would say like the redness is really starting to go down, so I've really been loving that. I feel like it looks pretty radiant, and that redness in the skin is definitely going down. Something I didn't love so much about this week, I was definitely getting some of those like more stress related breakouts or something like that, more of the painful ones. Like right now I have a really painful one under my nose, and you guys know, like, if you've ever gotten a cyst around your nose area, it's like the worst pain because every movement you make, that pimple is going to be hurting. And then I also have a painful one. We're just doing the full like acne tour today. You know how people do like tattoo tours and they show you where all their tattoos are? Yeah, let's talk about where my pimples are that hurt right now. I have one like right between my eyebrows that is like killing me also. I feel like those are the 2 worst places to get pimples. I swear. They're so painful, but you know what? They're, you know, healing actually pretty fast still. I'm using some like micro dart pimple patches to really get on in there into the skin and heal those down a bit quicker. So nonetheless, the skin is doing all that it can to heal, and I'm just going to keep supporting it to do so in its manner. And I encourage you guys as well to comment down below in the comments something you love about your skin this week, and something that maybe wasn't so great this week, but how you kind of turned it around into a positive situation. Remember, we're going to be doing this at the start of every episode. If I have a guest on, we're going to be asking them the same question, and it's just a good way to start off the podcast on a good note, I think. So that's going to be my little thing for LoudTalk. Okay, so let's get into the meat of this podcast, because I think this is going to take up a lot of time and I don't want this podcast to be 4 hours. So I got like a really interesting package from La Roche-Posay a couple weeks ago, and if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see this, but if you're just listening in on a streaming platform, I got a package from La Roche-Posay. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically a skincare brand. They're a French brand, and they make some really great products, especially targeted towards acne. And this package is so cute. First of all, it was basically for their new launch. They brought out a new product, which I haven't tried yet, but they also gave me like a little pillow of the product itself. Like, how cute is that? Let's just put that on the bed right there. Then we also got some other cute things, like they got me some chocolate and a little candle. I should have lit this in the background. Should I just do that now? Let's just smell this first before we get into this. I'm obsessed with candles, if you guys know me in real life. Ooh, that smells so good. So I realized that I actually didn't light a candle for today's episode, and I like to have one in the back. It makes it like super relaxing and cozy. All right, that candle is going. But anyways, enough about everything else in the package. What I really wanted to get into was this right here. So this is a journal that they got me, and it's called the Best Year Journal. And when I saw this, I got really inspired because I really wanted to do a podcast episode dedicated around this journal and kind of fill it out with you guys in a podcast episode. So we're really going to be journaling today, and I always get people suggesting to me that I journal because I have a lot of goals and ambitions, and I have a lot that I like to reflect on in my life and, you know, look back at kind of the highs and lows and what I can take as learning lessons. I always go through life with the idea that everything happens for a reason. Every single encounter you go through is some type of learning lesson that you can take something away from. And I think walking through life like that allows you to, at least it allows me to better deal with, you know, bad situations or lows in life, because it can be really, you know, bad when you get into that headspace of like, why is this happening to me? Why are things not going my way? Why does the universe like hate me? You know, like kind of that mindset. So if you think like everything happens for a reason, and there's going to be a place and time where I understand in the future why I was in that maybe bad position, or why I was going through something hard in life later on. So with that mindset, I've always been told like, you should journal. It'd be really great to kind of write down everything you're feeling. But I've never been one to kind of sit down and just like spill my thoughts out on pen and paper. So I thought, you know, I'm not the best at journaling and I just can't get into it. But something I do really enjoy and something I do think I'm really good at is sitting in front of a camera and talking to it. Given the, you know, 9 years almost now that I've been making YouTube videos, talking in front of a camera I could do forever. And I thought, that is usually what I do when I have thoughts and I want to kind of get them out, is I'll film a YouTube video. I'll kind of just talk, you know, to a camera forever and kind of get all my thoughts and, you know, ideas out there. So I thought we're going to do like a audio video type journal today with this journal right here. So let's crack right into this. I want to get right on into this. This is such a cool book, so I'm excited to go through this with you guys. So it's called The Best Year Journal, and it's, I think, from Intelligent Change. I'll try to link it down below and see if I can find it. And right on the front says, to lifelong learners and doers, you are changing the world every day. I love that so much. So we got the table of contents. We're obviously not going to get through all of this today, but I want to get through a good chunk in this next hour or so. So there's an introduction, there's an end of the year review, which we're going to get into right away here. Let's go ahead and read this introduction and see what it's about. So it says, do you ever feel as though you are sleepwalking through life and have no real idea of what you want and where you are headed? Does the end of the year come around and you aren't sure where that time has gone? Are you frustrated that you haven't been able to achieve your full potential or realize your dreams? Does it seem as if life is passing you by? Do you make New Year's resolutions only to break them 3 days into the new year? If so, you are not alone. Typically, less than 10% of resolutions have been kept by the year's end, and 25% fail before January 15th. If you answered yes to any of the above, you're in the right place. Best Year Journal is your guide to a more fulfilling year ahead, during which you will achieve more than what you ever thought was possible and learn to prioritize what's really important to you. Interesting. Modern life is hectic, and juggling the many demands placed on us can leave us with little time to truly connect with ourselves. Best Year Journal will give you the space to have some quality time with yourself. Read on to discover what enriches you, find out what really makes you happy, learn how to focus your energy, and uncover the secrets to balancing your professional and private commitments, and ultimately gain the confidence to become a better version of yourself in the upcoming year. Wow, it's like this book was made for me. This podcast is all about learning to be a more confident version of yourself. So I'm very, very excited about this. So it says, one day or day one, you decide. I love that quote. You know, I always have people ask me too when it comes to content creating, like, I want to get into content creating, but I just don't know where to start. And it's like, you just have to start. Pick up a camera, film a video, and start. If this is something you truly want to do, and this goes for anything in life, anything you have that is a dream of yours is gonna stay a dream until you actually go out and put yourself in the world and do it. And it might not, you know, you might not achieve your dream, let's say day one, but you have to start somewhere, because if you keep saying, I'll do it tomorrow, oh, I'll do it in 5 years from now, oh, I'll do it when I'm in a better position to do this, it's never going to come true. So no matter, there's no perfect timing. You know how people always say that? There's no perfect timing to start working towards your dreams. And I'm a true believer in that. If you want something in life, go out there and get it and start working towards it. And trust me, day by day, your dream, you'll start seeing it become a reality. Let's continue. So, the end of the year review. We often have many aims and expectations for the year ahead, checking in with ourselves at the end of the previous year and asking whether we did our best to accomplish our goals allows us to evaluate the past with understanding and compassion. Carrying out an end-of-year review will provide personal feedback and a sincere analysis of the previous 12 months, so we can be more confident about what actions we need to take to ensure that the next year is our best yet. I love that. So they're basically suggesting an annual exercise where you kind of reflect on the past 12 months, and this will allow you to track your personal growth and actually strategize a plan for the year ahead that will actually be more effective than just setting a New Year's resolution that you're going to probably break within the first 10 days of January. Many of us are guilty of judging ourselves too harshly. Rather than encouraging judgment, an end-of-the-year review empowers us to accept ourselves exactly how we are. By taking a step back, we can see our lives in full focus, recognize our milestones over the past 12 months, highlight what we are grateful for, and acknowledge any bumps in the road. I really like the approach that this book is taking so far. So we're going to go through this end-of-the-year review together. So it kind of, tells you how you should be doing this review. So it says just take a few minutes to kind of jot down your thoughts over the past 12 months, allow your thoughts to come without judgment, accepting any emotions that might surface, and then read through your notes and see how reflecting on each event makes you feel in that moment. Congratulate yourself for taking the first step towards a more positive year ahead. That is super cool. So this is like a fill in the blank type journal, which is super cool because it's guided. I find sometimes I struggle with journaling every day because sometimes I'm like, what am I supposed to write about? I could talk forever, but I'm like, what am I supposed to write about? So I think this will be kind of cool to do this kind of walkthrough. So let's get to the actual journal, and this is part 1, reflection and gratitude. So before we get into this, let's talk about 2022, because I feel like 2022 was such an interesting year. And it's interesting because I've talked to some of my friends about this. I've, seen other creators on TikTok or YouTube or even in podcasts kind of talk about this. And I feel like we all kind of lived a similar 2022. I feel like 2022 was the year for change. It was the year for the highs and lows and just drastic change in a way. I feel like everyone went through a lot in 2022, and we all kind of, not all, but just from the people I've talked to and in my life and the people I watch on social media, it seems to be that common kind of consensus of 2022 as a year. 2021 to me wasn't a great year. It just felt kind of meh. Honestly, I think after the pandemic, people were kind of coming back into things, but it was almost to me worse than 2020 in a way, because 2021, I feel like the world just stood still and like nothing was happening. I remember in 2021 I felt so like lost in terms of my career. I was in school. I still am in school studying chemical engineering and business, but this was before I had gotten my internship, and I just had no motivation to do classes. My classes were online. I hated being locked up inside my room for like 12 hours a day studying, and I couldn't like see people and interact with people, and it just wasn't a fun time. I was also on birth control the full year of 2021, and I feel like that had a big effect on my mood as well. And actually the start of 2022, I decided to completely cut birth control cold turkey. I was on the Lanisa 28 pill, and I just stopped taking it like the second week of January. And then I never took it again. And I feel like that was a huge, first of all, change for me, because I definitely saw the effects of coming off of birth control immediately. Like my mood like came back right away. My motivation came back. Like I definitely felt like I was almost a different person while I was on that pill. And it's interesting too, because this year I went through so much change. I started off 2022 coming out of a long-term relationship, and I would say I was kind of in the state where I was a little bit afraid to like be on my own. But then once I was like, I'm fine. I think a lot of us kind of experience that too. We kind of create this like dependence on either people or like jobs or hobbies, and then we think that our lives like can't go on without that thing, but that's really not how it is at all. And I really took, my career and stuff kind of by the throat and started running with it. And I feel like I accomplished a lot in terms of career growth this year. I started my engineering internship. I feel like I really found my place on social media. My TikTok page grew a lot. I started growing my Instagram. I even saw growth on YouTube, and I really started to see things kind of starting to piece together after so many years of trying to work, in social media and creating content. Because as much as I love content creating, it's definitely not the easiest on the mind. It's very like, it kind of takes over your mind and headspace, because you're constantly in this back and forth with yourself of like, is this content good enough? Why did this video flop? Like, and just this constant pressure that you need to like outperform yourself each time. So I feel like, although I had a lot of that this year, I also saw a lot of growth, and I got to work with a bunch of amazing brands and get a bunch of opportunities that I'm really, really excited about. I also moved out, which was a huge step for me and a huge change and a shift in my life. So in a way, I felt like my life did a 180, and everything that I kind of knew it to be, and like kind of everything I found comfort in kind of changed. And I'm not someone who deals with change that easily, and I think a lot of us can relate to that, because change is scary, and it's hard to kind of walk away from comfort. And sometimes we can confuse like happiness with comfort, and sometimes we just need our world kind of like shaken up a little bit, and then you kind of like wake up and you're like, oh, like there's actually more out there that I can explore. And I definitely think, I tried that in terms of content. I started kind of reaching outside of like my usual. Coming off that birth control was such a big change too. Like my skin, I mean, if you guys have been following me, my skin completely like exploded this year because of a hormonal imbalance that the birth control caused. So a lot of changes, but what I do have to say is like, change is good sometimes. And I think I did so much growing as an individual this year because of all the highs and lows. Like you sometimes need those extremes in life to really cause like some reflection and change. And I'm very grateful for 2022, because I feel like, as I said, in a way it was the best year ever and also the worst year ever. But I think there's so much I learned from it, and I'm ready to go into 2023 with a bit of like calmness, and like kind of like, okay, I know what path I'm kind of on now. Like I'm going to continue kind of flying that plane and working towards my goals, and I'm really excited to get into this journal and start jotting some stuff down. So let's just start with a few questions here. So quick review, top 5 happiest moments of the past year. Oh boy. I think I'm going to keep these like more work related ish. ish, because obviously there's like a lot like personal life too, but I don't want to get into things like too deep. I would say like 5 big milestones for me this year were starting my internship in May, and then around the same time I also moved out, so those were 2 really big moments, bittersweet moments for sure, but good moments. I remember also the day I finished my second semester of third year was a very happy day because that semester was like hell. I barely slept those last 2 weeks. I was literally living off like Monster energy drinks and Vietnamese subs. But we made it through, and I just remember like being with my friends and celebrating like that last exam day. It was just such like a relief. And then right after that we headed into internship and I moved out and everything, so that was definitely a really like happy moment. That was really nice. I gotta say, like, another happy moment was I started a brand this year. It's not out yet or anything like that, but I would say the day that we kind of got our first like set of samples was really surreal, because it just felt like, holy crap, we're doing this, and just that feeling where it kind of hits you like, I'm doing this, I'm like working towards this, and now it's like tangible, like it's in my hands. That was super cool. I had some like really fun moments this summer too, with my family. I just remember some of like the birthdays we celebrated this summer that were really fun, and Christmas too, actually. Let me say that I really enjoyed spending like time with my family this Christmas, especially because I feel like this year I worked like no other year before, so it was just really nice to just sit down and have some fun with them. That was really great. What small things have I enjoyed doing during my day-to-day life? This year is actually the year I picked up going to the gym, and I started weightlifting back in January of last year, actually, and I'm continuing to do it. I'm still not like your typical gym person that's like wakes up at 4 a.m. to go every day, but I do actually enjoy going, and seeing that progress every day and just like being able to like lift a bit more each day is so fulfilling. So that's just a small thing that I've really started enjoying. I actually kind of stopped drinking so much coffee this year too. I actually don't drink coffee on a daily basis anymore, which if you knew me like last year, I would have like, or even like towards the start of the year, I would say up until like June, I was having like 2-3 cups a day at least, but I kind of just cut it off, and now I just drink tea, and I actually really look forward to just having a tea every now and then. Actually like multiple times a day I look forward to my teas. So those are some things I've really enjoyed. And I would say walking more. I got to walk a lot during the summer, like to the gym and just like any shops and coffee shops, and that was like so nice, and it was something that I like really truly enjoyed. So that was like super nice, and just a small thing, like a 15-minute walk just really like resets your mind, and gives you a bit of that you time. What I do for the very first time in my life last year, start a brand. Never done that before, and we're still have a long way to go, but formulated a product. Never done that before. Top 3 things I am grateful for. I have to say my family, number 1. I am so grateful for my family. Number 2, I have to say like my closest friends that are always like, supporting me and just having fun and stuff. Like I'm definitely really grateful for them. And then number 3, I'm really just grateful for my mindset this year, honestly, and just being able to become this like my most confident self this year. Super grateful for that, and super grateful for all of you guys who have helped me along this journey and helped me build this platform. I would not have any of this part of my career without all of you guys listening and everyone who supports me online. So incredibly grateful for you. Professional highlight of the year. I have to think, because I feel like I did so much this year that it's like it gets a little like jumbled up, Honestly, I think when I like received my first like PR package from MAC was like a super surreal moment, since like they are the makeup artistry brand. So that was super cool. And then honestly, I think I have to say, like, working with the Inculist and their team this year has been incredible. So yeah, that has been really cool. Okay, we have another quote here. It says, "The beginning is always today." I really, really like that. What steps have you taken to maximize your well-being? Let's talk about this. I am definitely someone who is a workaholic. I it's funny, I always tell people, like, I think I thrive off stress, which is, like, interesting, but I do think I am that type of person that thrives off of being busy. And I actually kind of thought about this today a lot, and I realized, like, if I don't have plans to look forward to, or something to look forward to, like, especially, like, on the weekends or, like, evenings after work, if I don't have, like, something I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this today, like a set plan, I get, like, sad, and I get, like, in this, like, anxious mindset because I don't want to waste, like, a single day of my life, you know. And I have a really hard time taking rest days because I'm like, I need to do something. I like, if I take a rest day, I'm like, well, during that rest day I could have, you know, filmed a YouTube video, filmed a podcast, filmed 3 TikToks, I could have edited them all, I could have responded to all my emails, I could have cleaned my room, I could have done this, I could have went to the gym. Like, I literally go crazy. So I find this year I actually started getting a little more sick, in terms of, like, catching colds more often. There was actually a period between, like, August and October. I think I got sick like 4 times. And I swear that was my body telling me, like, slow the down. Like, you do not need to be constant go, 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 go. And I think a lot of us get into that mindset where we just can't take a break until we're literally forced to, and we get sick. And that's what happened to me. And not only was I catching these colds, but they lasted like a week to 2 weeks each. So I was literally, like, in bed, could not do anything except, like, slightly work off my laptop, and it was driving me crazy because all I wanted to do was get up, get ready, do my makeup, and go out, go to the gym, and get back into my usual routine of, like, waking up early and, like, having a full day of work and just having a, like, a jam-packed day. But sometimes you just need to, like, slow down and, like, just take a break, and I think that's okay. And just allowing yourself to do that. So that's definitely something I'm trying to work on more, and that's definitely something I'm going to take into 2023 and try to work on, because I definitely think it's healthy to take breaks. And over Christmas break, I actually had so many work plans, but I ended up spending like 4 days literally just, like, binge watching TV and doing nothing and just chilling with my family. And although it wasn't like a very eventful, like, holiday break, it was just a nice break of, like, doing nothing for a while. You know what I mean? Like, and I think I need a vacation coming up here pretty soon where I just, like, turn off my phone and do nothing just for, like, 2 days, you know, or even, like, 1 day, because it motivates me so much when I do have those pauses to jump back into work. So I think for that reason, it's very important. And that's definitely a step that I want to kind of continue maximizing. But something I think I did get really good at this year, or the past year in 2022, was telling myself something I love about my skin. And this is something I encourage you guys to always do as well, because I think it's so beneficial. And just really taking that fake it till you make it kind of mindset and applying it every single day into my life. Because people always ask me, like, how are you so confident in your skin? How are you so confident in your body and everything? And it's like, honestly, you got to tell yourself you're confident every day. You got to wake up and be like, I'm the best around, and just, like, not in like a cocky sense, but in just a sense that you, like, know your worth, and that you know that you are worthy, and that you are worthy of love, and that you love yourself. And you need to kind of instill that mindset into yourself, and then it's just gonna kind of build up, and you're just gonna wake up in the morning and you're just gonna be like, actually, yeah, I do love myself. And it's not going to be every morning. There's some mornings I wake up and look in the mirror and I start picking on my skin or whatever, but you got to take it back real quick. If you see yourself get into that hole, take it back and be like, stop. Rewind. back up from the mirror and kind of apologize to yourself, and then just tell yourself, like, you know what, no, I look good right now, like my skin, you know, is doing its best, like, and kind of give yourself that reassurance. And even if you don't really feel it in your heart, tell yourself every single day. And just, yeah, that is something I think I've gotten really good at this year, and it's greatly improved my confidence and just kind of being more secure in myself. It's something I definitely recommend that you take into 2023 as well. How have you moved closer to a major life goal? I would say actually starting the works of starting a brand. That is something I have dreamed of my whole life. Now, this brand is not what I thought would be kind of my first, you know, step as into like owning a business, but sometimes life doesn't go as planned, and either way, I'm so excited, and this is definitely a goal that I've had for a long time, and I hope I can keep working on it this year and kind of make it a dream come true, just one day at a time, you know? Who has helped or supported you, and how? I gotta give so much like thank yous to my family, my parents, my brother. You guys support me so much, especially when it comes to my career and my job as a content creator. Like my brother, he works so hard for me. He edits all my videos. So grateful for that. He's editing this podcast you're listening to right now. And my parents have always supported me in just making my dreams come true. Whatever crazy idea I have had, you know, I started YouTube at 13, and as a parent, that's kind of scary, like your daughter coming up to you at 13 being like, yeah, I just posted like a bunch of videos of myself like doing makeup in my room on YouTube. Like that's like not as especially at the time, like in 2014, it wasn't as common. Like now everyone's on social media, but at the time, like I don't even think I was allowed to have Facebook. So it was definitely like interesting for my parents, but they had always supported me no matter how much makeup I bought, like out of all my own money to, you know, like make these YouTube reviews. And even though they were getting like 100 views, they still supported me, and I'm so grateful for that, because like I don't think I'd be where I am now as a content creator if it wasn't for that. So definitely felt very, very supported. Oh, we have another great quote here. The best way to predict the future is to create it. So true. What are your personal accomplishments? Some of my goals for this year, like personally, just as a person, were to become more secure and gain more like peace in my independence. Because as I said, I'm a very extroverted person. I love plans. I love to be like busy every day. I love to be around people. And I definitely noticed right away when I moved out that I was having like a bit of a hard time just like being alone with myself. Like I would literally make plans every day of the week. And now I can say like I enjoy like, you know, a few days a week, like a night alone to just chill and work on my work, or just like watch a show or read a book. Like I genuinely enjoy that. Or like alone time at the gym, like I enjoy that now, which is something like before I would always like want to make plans with other people. So it's just interesting because I'm very proud of that, and I by no means am I any less of an extrovert, but I have appreciation for like alone time now, which I think is definitely important, you know. What have you achieved professionally? So I started my internship as a project engineer. I'm actually halfway through that right now, which is so surreal because I literally remember the day I got interviewed and the day I got the job so vividly in 2021. And I was so excited to start the internship in 2022. So the fact that we're halfway through it now is so crazy. But I've been loving it. I love, you know, working. I can't say I miss school that much because school's hard, but I do miss like the whole community part of school and like the friend part and all the memories and stuff like that. But I am taking a class, so right now it's just not really the same since I mostly do it on my own time. But there's definitely things that I miss about school, and there's things I don't miss. But I think that's what comes with change in life too. Like, you know, I started this job and it makes you really appreciate the things that you had before, but also reflect on the things that you appreciate about your life now. So it's very interesting for sure. Okay, let's move on to part 2 of the journal, gained knowledge. Okay, your top 5 life lessons. Number 1, if you can't change something about yourself or your life in like the next 5 minutes, change your attitude. This is something I've said a million times, I feel like, and I'm just sounding like a broken record, but I think it's so incredibly important. I used to really get down on myself about my skin, and especially like there's never been a year like 2022 where my skin's been worse. This was definitely like the peak of my acne, and if you go onto my TikTok or Instagram, you'll definitely see that. Like right now I'm wearing like a tinted sunscreen, and my inflammation has gone down immensely since like September. So I would say August, September is really where it was at its peak. And it's funny because this was the worst my skin has ever been, but the most confident that I've ever felt in my skin. And I definitely learned that like it's all about a mindset and attitude, because no matter what you look like, your happiness is not going to drastically change because of that. And I think we all go through life with this mindset of, and this is where a lot of insecurity stems from, is we think that, oh, when I have this, or when I look like this, or if only if I was skinnier, or if only, you know, I had more muscle, or if only my hair was longer, or if only I had blue eyes, or if only my skin was clear. Like we have this whole list of like these beauty expectations and beauty standards of what we want to look like. And we think that if we had that one thing, or if we looked a certain way, that we would be happy. But let me tell you something. You could have all those things and still be miserable. And I think it's really important to kind of wake up out of that mindset and realize that your happiness is not dependent on these superficial things. Because I will tell you right now, I had the most acne I've ever had in my life, and I was in a way like happier mindset. I was way more confident in myself because of the mindset I had built and the confidence I had built over the year, not because of how my skin looked like. My skin has been perfectly crystal clear before, and there were still things I was picking about myself in the mirror. So, you know, and I've seen like other people talk about this too, for sure. Like you reach a certain like body physique of what you're kind of trying to obtain, and that's good to have goals, but don't base your happiness fully on them, because once you get there, there's going to be something new. There's going to be something new you're chasing after in terms of how you look, or whatever other insecurity you have. So I think that is something I really want you guys to start reflecting on in 2023, and really try to find things that will actually make you happy, because superficial things like your appearance do not matter in the grand scheme of things, and they're not going to be the like root of your like pure happiness in life, trust me. So yeah, how did we even get to that topic? Oh yes, top 5 life lessons. Yes, so that's definitely a huge one. I know I went on a bit of a tangent there, but so important. Yeah, so important. There's many life lessons that I said in that one, like in that whole kind of speech I went on, but so many important ones in there. I need some water. I feel like I've been talking forever. I'm really passionate about this stuff, so, you know. Next, I want to say, I feel like I keep learning that everything happens for a reason, and to just trust your path in life and try to look for all the learning lessons you have. And the next lesson I want to talk about that I really think got instilled in my brain this year is to have patience and kind of trust timing and realize that things take time to heal. I've definitely learned this through my skin. Although my inflammation has gone down immensely, I'm left with a lot of acne scarring, and frankly, this will take, you know, months to years to heal, and that's okay. I just need to be patient and realize that these scars are something that don't define me, but I think add a bit of character in the way that they show my story, and I am definitely grateful for that. I'm grateful for my acne. I'm grateful that I've gone through this experience, because I have learned so much through it. I think next life lesson, and we'll end on this one for this question here, but I think it's just to be a little more accepting to change and welcome it a bit more, and not put up these walls and think that change is always bad, because sometimes it can be good. You can choose courage or you can choose comfort, but you can't have both. Did I not just talk about earlier in the podcast how often we choose comfort because it is familiar? Sometimes you just gotta take that risk and kind of fly, Top 5 career lessons. Ooh, all right. Let's do a few from like social media career. I definitely learned this year that things on social media, and I've always known this, but I think it really kind of made itself crystal clear to myself this year. Things on social media literally change so fast, and nothing is forever, and you just have to be grateful for every moment, and kind of you have to keep moving with the parts, because things change so fast, trends change so fast, people who are relevant change so fast, and it's very stressful as someone like working in this field, but it's also exciting, because I like to think of that mindset like if one door closes, another one opens, and that's kind of what I've been doing this year to kind of help myself, not get in that dark space of like, oh my gosh, views are going down or whatever, because it's like, okay, one video did bad, but there's going to be another video that hits, and it's just this cycle, and it's all going to be a-okay. So that was definitely a big lesson there. Next, I definitely think to have like realistic goals in place, and if you don't necessarily hit a goal, it's okay. It's also interesting because this year I had a lot of like change career-wise in my life, and I think just like similar to how I said, like, accept change in your life, accept change in your career, and if you want to do something in your career, like, ask, and just try to see if you can make it happen. Like with this podcast, it was literally just an idea that came to me one day, like, should I start a podcast? And then I was like, you know what, I'll never know like how it'll actually go until I try it out. So let's just try it. And I think I'm happy I tried it out. I still don't know if it's going to flop or not, but I am having fun, and that's sometimes what's important. Obviously, it can be stressful because it's like a job at the same time, but for right now, this is fun, and I'm going to continue filming these podcasts. So sometimes you just gotta stop taking life too seriously, in terms of career, and just take a step back and realize, like, follow your heart and follow what you love doing. And then in terms of my internship, wow, you can never stop learning. And starting a new job with no experience is terrifying, but it is very rewarding at the same time, and there is so much to learn, and I feel like a sponge every day just absorbing information, but it is very, very fun. I think working in project management, I did definitely learn that, and this is really a life lesson. Let's kind of sit back for this one. You can tell information to someone very clearly, and you can sum it up in an email or a text message, or even review it with them afterwards to make sure that you communicated what you need and what you are looking for very clearly. But that information may still not be received properly by them, and unfortunately, it can still be on you. So what I've definitely learned is not only do you have to have that clear communication, maybe repeat some things, but you also, the number one most important thing is not necessarily just following up in an email after, like, making sure, like, hey, like, this is what we talked about, remember? But taking that extra step and kind of getting the communication back from them as to what they understood. And I think this really goes for anything in life, because I think a lot of the issues we have as like human beings can stem from communication issues. We see it in friendships, relationships, work environments, and I think in your mind you could say, well, I communicated this piece of information very clearly to this person, I summed it up, I even like sent a review out after. If you're having a conversation with someone, you can like have the conversation and kind of hit those key points after. But what you need to make sure you're doing is make sure that they receive the information in the way that you were wanting them to. So that's where you ask questions, make sure that it is clarified on their end. And if they're needing anything else, that you can provide that information to fill in those gaps. So that's definitely something I really learned in my career this year for sure. What challenges did you face? Oh, so many. Definitely this whole birth control thing was really, really tough, and kind of trying to steer clear away from Accutane. I had not a great doctor's appointment experience. That was not fun, just kind of being told Accutane is my only choice, and I'm happy I kind of stood by my beliefs on that, and I am on this journey to heal my hormonal imbalance on my own and kind of more naturally, because I'm seeing the results myself. And just hearing all of your stories on hormonal birth control and Accutane, I'm just very happy I kind of stuck to my gut there. I've definitely faced, some issues in regards to how I communicate and friendships and everything like that. But I think as long as I'm taking those learning lessons and applying them, everything's going to be good, And I think, again, one of the biggest challenges I faced is change, because I really struggle with that, but I think I'm getting a bit better at it, and I'm seeing the good things that can come out of change, and kind of just accepting it as much as I can without letting it freak me out. The first to apologize is the bravest. The first to forgive is the strongest. The first to forget is the happiest. Interesting. Okay, let's do some goal setting for next year before we finish off this podcast. So we're in part 3 of the journal. This is the vision and clarity. So what are 3 to 5 goals that would make the next year the best year ever? Okay. I think I'm going to keep these mostly career oriented since we're talking on the podcast, but definitely goal number 1 is actually release the brand I'm working on. That would be the most surreal thing ever, because it would just be so cool to see it out in the world, So we're manifesting that in today's podcast for sure. Next, I definitely want to work with a brand to come out with a new product, and that kind of highlights real skin, and have this be the whole campaign, because I feel all the campaign photos we see and all the website photos we see on brands' websites are of perfect, smooth, filtered skin. So I would love to see kind of real skin, and not necessarily just my skin with acne and acne scarring, but just pores and unedited lines, just so you can see that it's actually real skin. I think that would be so cool. I definitely want to have some people that I consider role models and mentors on this podcast. That would be so cool, and maybe not this year, but a girl can dream. But definitely working towards that in the next few years. Next goal is to finish off my internship strong this year and enjoy the summer, make lots of memories, do some traveling too, and probably start off my 4th year of university just on the right foot and ready to go. And definitely one of my biggest goals is to take more time for myself this year, say no to more things, which is interesting because a lot of people's goals is to say yes to a lot of things. I'm kind of the other way around, where I say yes to too many plans, and then I say yes to too many work commitments, and yes to too many collabs, and yes to too many things in my life, where then I just am swamped, and then I'm just working myself to the ground. But I think I'm gonna just try to say no to more things this year, especially things that I don't have an interest in going to, plans and stuff. Obviously if it's something I really want to do, then I'm gonna say yes, but just having those boundaries, I think that's a big goal for myself, is setting those boundaries up and respecting my time a little bit more this year. Health and well-being. I definitely want to stay more active this year, pick up a little more cardio. I feel I really got into the gym last year, but not so much the cardio. I don't love cardio, I gotta admit to you guys, but I'm trying day by day to instill that a bit more. I want to be on a more consistent schedule, and again, make time for myself to go to the gym and make that a priority, because it's somewhere that I feel really relaxed and really de-stressed. It's a great outlet, and I think setting up that time for myself to make sure, I am getting at least that hour to be a little active every day is really a priority that I'm going to try to instill this year. And just more of that me time, whether it's like reading a book or just having a bath, or even just like doing my skincare for an extra 20 minutes and just doing something like a face mask or something. Setting that time for myself and making that a priority, I think will really help with keeping me, de-stressed and making sure that I can be my best self every single day and have that like power to work and still go out and have fun when the time is right. And then next goal is probably to just keep practicing positivity and self-love. So there's definitely more work that we can do in that aspect, and I'm excited to see kind of where that could go. Ooh, we're like halfway through that journal, and I think that's a lot of goal setting for today and reflecting. I'm happy I did this, and I think this was a way for me, even if none of you guys watch this podcast, it was definitely a great way for me to reflect on my year and set some goals in place without having to journal. And because this is the best way for me to kind of work through my thoughts, is talking in front of a camera. So that's exactly what we did, and I think it was very, very helpful. But thank you for kind of joining me along that journey. I hope that you maybe reflected on your 2022 in this video and kind of set some goals for yourself in 2023. I definitely encourage you, set in those boundaries for yourself. Take care of your mental health and physical health, and make sure you have that you time and have those goals in place, but get started on them, because your dreams are going to stay dreams until you start picking away at them every single day and working towards them. And of course, don't ever forget to stop telling yourself something you love about your skin every single day, when you wake up, when you go to bed, whenever throughout the day, as many times as you want throughout the day. I think it's so important, and just take that time to appreciate your skin, appreciate your body, appreciate your mind, because it is so, so special, and it's what makes you your amazing self. So yeah, that is it for this episode of Loud Talk with Lavi, episode 3 in the books. Woo, we're getting these episodes just recorded, hey? Let me know down below in the comments if you're watching on YouTube your suggestions, or even just let me know on my Instagram or TikTok, all at Loud Talk with Lavi. Loud Talk is one word, by the way, and then with Lavi. You can find me there. The links will all be in my link tree, or you can check out the YouTube description box. You'll find them all there. And if you're tuning in on Spotify or Apple or any of your other podcast streaming services, make sure to rate the podcast. I would really appreciate a 5-star, and make sure to follow along for more episodes. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Loud Talk. Don't forget to be your most confident self, and just be loud in this crazy world with whatever you've got to say. So love you all so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.